In the months that have followed, the voters saying yes to legalizing recreational marijuana in New Jersey and Governor Murphy signing the law earlier this year, there's been continued pushback by parents, local leaders, legislators, and people in the community about a couple glaring issues with the law. Parents wouldn't be able to get notified if their underage son or daughter was caught with marijuana or alcohol. That issue, courtesy of Assembly Minority Leader John Bramnick, is on its way to resolution. However, the issue still remains with police officers facing criminal charges or a hefty fine if they initiate an investigation for marijuana use underage. It brought people out here to Point Pleasant Beach ahead of the summer on the first day of spring, hoping and pushing for change. The glaring issue remaining with the marijuana legislation is that it opens the door to charging police officers with a third-degree crime, facing hefty fines and even being sued civilly for deprivation of civil rights for investigating the underage use of marijuana or alcohol. Point Pleasant Beach Police Chief Joseph Michigan, who is also the president of the Ocean County Chiefs of Police Association, says it fails to ensure safety in the community.
Not only does this dangerous legislation continue to prevent parents from being notified, because police won't be able to realistically investigate in the first place, it guarantees that police will be powerless to investigate and address the use and abuse of alcohol and marijuana by kids in our schools, parks, beaches, and other places of public gathering. This legislation turns our kids into innocent collateral damage in the quest for social justice in New Jersey. It's wrong, it's indefensible, and it must be fixed now.
Ocean County State Senator Robert Singer says every legislator who voted for the new marijuana bill knew exactly what it included and what would happen, leaving the door wide open.
Let no one tell you from the Senate or the Assembly or the governor they didn't understand was in this bill. They were all briefed on it. This is a disgusting piece of legislation. The voters did not vote on that we should have 12-year-olds drinking beer, smoking marijuana, and nothing can be done about it. By the way, in this piece of legislation, anyone under 21 is considered a minor. Anyone under 21. That means college students, people that are 18, 19, and 20 years old are considered a minor. You cannot search them. Think about it. They walk on the beach, they hide a case of beer in a cooler. You can't search it, and they cannot give you permission to search it. And who is the person that's responsible and is holding the bag on this? Police. If they do something wrong, they can be charged with a third-degree crime. That means it can be jail or a major fine.
Senator Singer also says there are some lawmakers who wanted to take things a step further and remove more protection for police and create a troubling reality.
They wanted to eliminate the liability statute for police. That meant if a police person did anything wrong, they would be charged personally for it. It would be the end of policing in this state as we know it.
Ocean County State Assemblyman John Catalano is calling on Trenton Democrats to consider what this legislation can do to police and families in the community.
So I think enough is enough. I think we need to tell Mr. Murphy's Trenton Democrats that when they pass these bills, they need to read them. They need to have some common sense, because as the senator said, when they make all these amendments and change the bill around, it really does no good.
Ocean County Commissioner Director Gary Quinn says this legislation sends the wrong message to the youth in the community about the dangers of drug use and underage drinking.
This is just opening the door for this opportunity for these kids to be able to take and go down a path that we don't, as parents, want to see happen. So it is so important for everybody here today to take and do everything you can to continue to talk to your neighbors, talk to your friends, talk to your families, get the word out there how bad this is and how wrong it is. In this bill, but what's happening is we're putting the police officers in a position where they're in jeopardy if they do their job, which is wrong in every way possible.
In 2020, following a massive unauthorized party on Jenkinson's Beach where guests trashed the sands with beer bottles, trash, urinated in bushes, and were smoking marijuana, the borough enacted a series of ordinances to prevent deja vu. Point Pleasant Beach Mayor Paul Kinitra says this community has long been a family-friendly town for residents and guests, and this marijuana legislation mirrors similar bills that overlook how beach communities can be impacted.
As a result of the pandemic, last summer, Point Pleasant Beach saw an almost 300% increase in borough ordinance violations. Most of these offenses came from juveniles and young adults who have been taught to demonize police, view them as the problem, and have never learned accountability for their actions. The restraint our officers show here in town is simply inspiring. I've personally watched my officers get taunted, screamed at, and spit on. This is the environment that's being created. Now comes this latest hot piece of garbage out of the State House that will certainly continue the trend. The irony is, the thing that most of these kids need the most is simply parental discipline. If that natural parental right is taken away by our legislators, we're going to be dealing with the most emboldened and aggressive crowd we've ever dealt with in our history this summer. I'm well aware that Governor Murphy has signaled support to scale back this provision. But if that actually occurs, the devil will be in the details. And nothing I have seen so far has led me to believe that any changes to the law will remove this ridiculous criminal liability component our officers now face. The attacks on our police need to stop. Rumors have it that Trenton is even quietly discussing revoking police immunity on a much broader scale. The chaos and action like this will cause would be devastating for Point Pleasant Beach and tourist destinations across the state.
There are pieces of legislation and growing support in Trenton that would reverse this part of the marijuana law, including one from Monmouth County State Senator Declan O'Scanlan and Morris County State Senator Tony Bucco, including one that would protect officers from unfair criminal prosecutions when they encounter underage individuals in possession of marijuana or alcohol. Senator O'Scanlan said, quote, "We want to ensure bad cops are held accountable while permitting good cops to do their jobs. This bill strikes that balance and cleans up some of the mess created by the haphazard process used to legalize cannabis in New Jersey. The people of New Jersey overwhelmingly voted last year to legalize adult use of cannabis, and Trenton Democrats inexcusably used it as an opportunity to brand all police officers as criminals and make them fearful of doing their job. Under our measure, law enforcement will not unfairly bear the brunt of an unreasonable law that has nothing to do with decriminalizing pot." As support grows and legislation continues to get raised, they're looking for continued support, not just in the State House in Trenton, but from the community as well. That's what was going on here today in Point Pleasant Beach. I'm Vin Ebnu, Town Square Media News.